Hello everyone, Chess Twins here, and today we're going to analyze a brilliant game played by Bobby Fischer versus Grandmaster Ulf Andersson in 1970. So Bobby Fischer is playing with the white pieces, and Andersson is playing with the black pieces. In this position, Bobby Fischer comes up with a brilliant move. Pause the video and see if you can find it yourself. Now if you guessed d4, you'd be wrong. Bobby Fischer actually played king h1. Now although d4 is a good move, it strikes the center, so it tries to break up the pawn chain, and it liberates white's light square bishop. However, Bobby Fischer has a different plan in mind. After king h1, black plays queen d7, and Bobby Fischer plays rook g1. After rook a d8, Bobby Fischer centralizes his knight on e4, and black plays queen f7. Now Bobby Fischer plays the super aggressive move g4. So now we see the idea behind king h1. It's to vacate the g1 square for the rook, and the rook supports the g4 pawn. After g6, white plays rook g3, a rook lift. Now if g5 were to be played, black could simply respond with f5, and white's initiative is gone. After bishop g7, rook a g1 is played. White is doubling up his rooks against the black king, and eventually white plans on playing h4, h5, and possibly sacrificing on any of these squares with both of his knights. Knight b6 is played, and Bobby Fischer plays knight c5, harassing the light square bishop in the b7 square. Bishop c8 is played to defend b7, and Bobby Fischer plays knight h4. The point of knight h4 is to allow the f-pawn to move and to potentially sacrifice on g6 later. After knight d7, white plays knight e4. Now the point of knight e4 is to not trade, because trading would allow black to get his light square bishop back into the game. After knight e4, this bishop is stuck on c8, and Bobby Fischer continues to put pressure on the black pawns. So after knight f8, black is defending the g6 square and the h7 square. So instead of going to f8, if black were to bring his knight to b6, white would play g5, striking at the f6 and e5 pawn. If black were to play f5, white would play knight f6 check, attacking the king and the rook. After bishop takes f6, g takes f6, queen takes f6, knight takes g6 is unavoidable. If h takes g6, then rook takes g6 check. And now white is winning the queen for a rook. So instead of knight g6, black has to play knight g8, defending the g6 square. Now Bobby Fischer plays another brilliant move, knight f5. The point of this move is to force black to take and to open up the g file. After knight f5 is played, bishop e6 is played by black. Now instead, if black were to play bishop takes f5, g takes f5, once again trying to open up the g file. And if g5 were to be played, there would be another knight sacrifice. Knight takes g5. After f takes g5, once again white is threatening to take the bishop on g7, winning a queen for a rook. After rook e7, white could go ahead and win a queen for a rook and play queen c4, followed by f4. Now white's attack is too strong. Therefore, bishop f5 cannot be played. Now after bishop e6, white plays knight c5, once again attacking the light square bishop in the b7 pawn. After knight e7, Bobby Fischer plays knight takes g7, king takes g7. White plays g5, another brilliant move, attacking this pawn structure. Knight f5 is played, and rook f3 follows. If the black were to take on g5, white would play bishop takes e5, king g8, followed by rook f3. And black is completely busted. After rook f3, b6 is played, kicking the knight. If white were to try bishop d5, attempting to secure the king and the rook, this would simply be met with e4. So after g takes f6, black is forced to play king h8. The queen cannot take because after knight e4, queen f7, bishop takes e5, king g8, and knight f6 follows. Also, after queen f7, bishop takes e5, the king will go to h6, rook h3 check. After the knight blocks, knight h4, rook takes h4 is checkmate. So after king h8, knight takes e6, rook takes e6, and Bobby Fischer plays d4, striking at the center. After e takes d4, bishop c4 is played, skewering the queen and the rook. And Bobby Fischer went on to win the game relatively easily. So what makes this game so brilliant is the fact that Bobby Fischer is able to generate attack seemingly out of nowhere. Bobby Fischer is confined to the first 3 ranks, and none of his pieces are around the king. This amazing idea is known as Fischer's plan, where Fischer plays king h1, followed by rook g1, g4, and then the doubling of the rooks. This is why Bobby Fischer is known as one of the greatest attacking chess players of all time. In a seemingly innocuous position, he's able to completely destroy his opponent within just 20 moves. Fischer's plan has inspired many other grandmasters games, and you can even use it in your own games. If you learned something, feel free to like this video, comment your thoughts, and subscribe. For now, I'll see you then. By the way, ChessTwins has a new Twitch page. If you want to stay updated for upcoming live streams, follow us on Twitch.